Three, two. And now we're here with Erika Lance. We are very proud to announce that she is now part of the ESO Network, and she has a wonderful, wonderful podcast, Drinking with Authors. Welcome to ESO and Earth
Oh,
Station
thank you.
One.
Thank you.
It's awesome to have
Thank
you
you.
here.
I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. We're
Did
excited to
everybody
have
get
you.
beverages so we could get drunk during this one? Just
Or-
no, no, we're not
Already,
ready for that. Okay.
already with you. I figured since you were going to be here, I would have my tasty beverage with me,
I appreciate that. I drank way too much Bailey's on the plane today, so I had to a little bit when I got home. Little slurring. It's fine. It's fine.
It's great to have you on the show. It's great to have you as part of the network. For those people who are not familiar with your podcast, tell us a little bit about your show.
Okay, so it's fun because it is what it's called, Drinking with Authors. So what we do is we sit down with authors, anyone from just published maybe themselves all the way up to somebody who's maybe been published for decades and decades, and kind of discuss their writing journey, what makes them tick. But there's alcohol involved a lot of times, so it usually ends up going left. And so we have a really good time sort of getting to know the author without a scripted content. So we don't go down like a list of prearranged questions because there's drinking and I wouldn't be any good at that if I did that at all. So
where did you how did this originate? Where did you come up with the idea? I mean, obviously drinking with authors usually associated with drinking, that usually goes hand in hand. I'm just curious as to how the idea for the podcast started.
Oh, well, the genesis. Well, we're going to go back. We're going to travel back in time to, I worked with a not-for-profit literacy, very Scooby-Doo. If it wasn't for those damn kids. No.
Raggy?
So I worked with a not-for-profit that was in the Tampa Bay area called Wordier Than Thou, and they wanted to do a book club for local authors. So they called it Critical Drinking. And me and a friend of mine hosted it. His name is Austin. He was on a lot of the original Drinking with Authors. And we would meet at a wine bar in downtown St. Petersburg. And the idea was everybody would come and do talk about the book. Well, the first time we did it, the author showed up. And that changes the dynamics of having a book discussion when the author walks in the door. Like, you're like, so okay, they, not that they were not invited, but they weren't invited, if that makes sense. It wasn't like,
sure.
What the hell are they
doing
here?
It's like, ooh, this could be awkward.
Yes. So the next time we had it, and it was once a month, again, the author walked in the door, and I'm like, we're gonna have to change how we do this because this is not working to do this. And instead, we started just interviewing local Tampa Bay, Orlando, Florida authors. But it was in a wine bar, so it was a kind of I can't believe when I say this. It was a rowdy wine bar, but it was very noisy, right? And I happen to think I'm very funny, and we at least thought we were funny many times after the ends of having these meetings. And we're like, we should record this. So when I looked up, honestly, the socials for Critical Drinking, a lot of them were taken. So I came up with Drinking with Authors. And then we started recording them live at a wonderful bar that unfortunately didn't make it through COVID called Waypoint 6, which was in the Tampa Bay area as well. And we would invite the authors, and there were themed drinks they would have for us. It was a lot of fun. And then, dun, 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 COVID. So that is the genesis. And then we started recording videos. And of course, me and one of my other co-hosts, Valerie, maybe after having done a podcast, maybe after a little bit of, whiskey, we're like, you know what, let's just start inviting famous authors. And of course, we were very surprised, but very pleased. A lot of them, that's how we got Jonathan Mayberry, for instance. We're drunk emailing and drunk socialing authors. So we're now, I think there's like 270 that are out, but we have over 350 recorded at this point in time. So it's been pretty fun. But
yeah, that's really sizable considering, I mean, you've been podcasting for 3 years, is that correct?
3 years, yes. And actually in January, we're having to change it up because we used to do an author a week, and we're having to change it up to do 2 authors a week. Wow. Because we just have so many people. Well, it's okay. I don't mind putting myself out to do it. I volunteer as tribute. Yeah, just kidding.
Her liver's
So,
crying every week, but that's another story.
there's sometimes we do healthy drinks where we do like green tea and vodka. Like that's healthy, right? That's
Sure,
balancing,
sure.
Sure, if you
But
say so, it's good.
we're not health advisors. We always say that. We have a health disclaimer. Don't listen to anything we're saying for health advice. But yeah, it's been exciting and the popularity, and we're actually moving, which is really exciting, being with the ESO Network to we've been requested to do some live drinking with authors at conventions. And our first one is actually going to be GalaxyCon Columbus. They've invited drinking with authors, and apparently I get to interview some pretty cool celebs that are going to be there. They're lining up. So that'll be fun.
That's
Live in front
really
of a
awesome.
studio
Yes.
audience, which is what I've said for a long time, is that I want to be live in front of a studio audience. So it's my dream is coming true.
That's yeah, those opportunities are great. What have you found? Has there been any surprises along the way of your journey podcasting? Because I always find it interesting to talk to podcasters, when they go in, what they think is going to happen and what ends up happening, the whole experience. What has that been like for you?
Well, it's been interesting. I've been very fortunate that I've gotten some technical people around me who do much better at actually producing the podcast for me and the videos. So that has been good. But for me, I think I don't do a lot of filtering of guests. I'm learning more and more that a lot of podcasts like do certain layers of filtering, but I don't do that. If you request to be on the show, for the most part, I've never turned anyone down. I can't think of anyone I'd turned down at all, because every author needs an opportunity to talk about their work. But some authors get on the podcast, and I think I had a chance to talk to Mike previously about this, where like they'll get on and you can always tell, like avid listeners to the show can tell me when they know the episode wasn't going well, because I'll go like, okay, when did you start writing? And they'll be like, when I was 10.
Whoa.
And that's it. Like they won't say anything else. And I'm like, cool, this is gonna be a long one.
We've had
the
those.
show
We know those quite well.
Exactly. And it's amazing to me. And I mean, I guess authors sometimes tend to be introverts, but that's been one of the things I've had to adjust to, is figuring out ways to make it still entertaining. And I guess I'm lucky that my co-hosts are entertaining, because we can then sometimes get into a banter and try to find something that will get the guest to actually use words out of their mouth, which would be nice,
Words good.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's a different sort of
just not on
set.
paper, but it's
it's a different sort of skill set. I mean, creating art and promoting art are two different things, and it's sometimes promoting yourself is really difficult. We have, like Mike said, we have found that to be the case with people that we've had on. So you never know. And like you said, when you're attracted, when you want to help promote everybody, even the small publishers, self-publishers, et cetera, you don't know what it's roll of the dice, right, of what you're going to get.
Exactly. It is. And it's been really interesting at times, because people reach out. I have a way people can just contact. If you go to drinkingwithauthors@gmail.com, there's a form or that they can do, or on drinkingwithauthors.com, I should say. Woo, Bailey's. But I have a form, and so you can just go, hey, I wrote a book, I've done this thing, and be on the show. And so that's been a growth journey. And in the beginning, I had to go find the guests. Like I had a lot of local writers that were friends, so they came on the show. And then I was like, I must find the guests. And now I don't have to find the guests anymore. So that's been pretty awesome. Like the guests come like a waterfall pouring into me now, which is fantastic. But it's means some changes for our podcast.
Sure. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I know sometimes it's hard to choose between your children, but if people wanted to check out your show, what are some episodes that you're particularly proud of that people should definitely listen to?
Well, I would say Charles Gammon, he's one of my favorites. I would say Jonathan Mayberry. Heather Graham was hysterical on the show. But we've also had a few people like Kenya Wright, who's a self-published author, and she was really, really funny. And Phoenix Daniels, she was great too. It's so, and MK Williams is another one who is hysterical because she has her own podcast and she comes on our podcast and she helps writers on her podcast. So that she's really funny too. But I think if you want to get to know more in different authors and kind of see them in fun light that you don't get to see them and have them talk about stuff that you don't get to hear them talk about, because a lot of shows that interview people tend to have a set list of criteria questions, and people get on our show and go, I've never been asked that before. But we ask questions like, what is your favorite weird food combination? Which I think both of you should answer on your podcast. What is your favorite weird food combination? Mr. Faber, what's yours?
Oh, my favorite food combination.
I'm interviewing you now. I've done a takeover. What's
favorite food combinations? I am a huge fan of eating sushi with nacho chips.
Oh, like nachos or Doritos?
Like Doritos, or or just regular tortillas, and and putting it in with the wasabi and the soy. It's pretty darn awesome. Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Gordon?
Bet you didn't think I was going to finish so quickly.
Yeah, man, he got that right away. I don't know. Do I do anything weird combinations? I don't think so. I mean, I do like putting chips on sandwiches. I don't know if that's weird, but I do.
I consider it a little weird. I'm a fan of that though. I'm a huge fan of chips on sandwiches.
I like a sandwich with some crunch.
Well, I know a lot of people who like sandwiches with French fries on it and stuff like that too. Putting them.
I don't do that. But
yeah,
I had.
That's too far, Faber. That's just too far.
Yes, you've crossed the line. One of the last guests said something, and it's funny because they'll say the answer to that, and some of them were like, "Oh, that sounds good," like a grilled peanut butter and jelly. Have you guys ever heard of this?
Yeah.
Where you grill it like a grilled cheese, but it's peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my menu orders items, because a couple years ago I had looked at opening a grilled cheese food truck, and that was going to be on our menu, was grilled peanut butter and jelly.
So amazing. Amazing. I made them the other day.
Also grilled peanut butter and banana was very popular too.
Oh, Elvis.
Wow.
It's an Elvis, isn't it?
Mike, I think we have a new topic now, because it's been a while since we've done best we have ever ate, right?
Yep, exactly.
Weird food combos. I think that might be in our future.
That's it. Thank you.
It is a funny thing. One guy said, what did he eat? He was eating cucumbers with ketchup on them.
Oh.
Like that.
I still don't understand people who dip their French fries in mayonnaise and stuff.
Okay, I'm one of those people.
Are you?
Yes, I'm avidly one of those people.
Are you from Minnesota or something? Because I know it's a big Midwest thing.
That is actually where I was born, in Minnesota.
Okay, and that totally makes.
We can do a Minnesota thing and talk about my DX.
Because I understand French fries and gravy and stuff like that, but French fries and mayonnaise, it's just like I
love French fries and mayonnaise. I think it's a big thing, but I also think it's a European thing. So I've been to Europe quite a bit.
Yeah,
and you dip your chips. They're not French fries; they're chips.
Yes, that's true.
Mayonnaise. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't stand vinegar. I'm not a chips and vinegar kind of person. I've never been that person.
Well, in the UK, it's vinegar on everything. On fish, on the chips.
That's because they need to kill the taste, because usually it's bad.
Touche. And we just lost more audience members.
I was going to say, now you're losing the British. I was going to say, huge fan of bangers and mash. Don't lump me in with them on this British.
All comments, please put forward to Mr. Mike Gordon, care of the ESO Network.
It's true. It's true. Well, very cool. I think it's great. I think it's great that you're on the network now. I think it's great the podcast you're doing. Anything that helps promote reading and literature and people who are trying to get their words out there, which is something that is very difficult these days. I'm all for. So thank you for your efforts there. But now that we found out about your podcast, I don't know if you know about the hazing ritual here on the network, but you're going to
I'm
have to
looking
be
forward
strapped to the geek seat now, I'm afraid.
I'm down. I've been a nerd since coloring in my dice with crayons. Let's do this.
Whoa! Oh, the gauntlet has been thrown, Mr. Glenn.
There you
Yes.
go. There you go.
All right,
Well, you know,
Erica.
I mean, I think I don't we haven't really done this as a test. So we don't really have any hard numbers to prove this, but I think that the more alcohol that you ingest, the better the Geek Seat experience is for you. I think.
Oh, then I'm in a great place.
Oh yeah,
Me and my Bailey's Irish Cream are in a great place together.
it's
We
dulled the
joined
pain.
you.
It dulled the pain for you already, so it's perfect.
Yes,
All right, Erica, you ready for your first question?
I think so.
What was your favorite geek out moment?
When I got to meet Matthew Lillard and I was dressed as one of the 13 Ghost characters.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm a cosplayer too, an avid cosplayer. So I dressed as the Withered Lover, which is the girl with the burn, and it's a hospital gown. I did this because I got to have an IV tray, and one of the bags had vodka and tonic in it, and the other bag had wine. It worked out really well because they're really big IV bags. But he was at a convention, and I got to meet him, and he looked at me, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you're from that movie," and I'm like, 13 Ghosts, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, "You were in that." And he goes, "I know." And then we had another moment later where he was walking with security and he saw him and he's like, 13 Ghosts. And they were flipping out. It was great. So
Oh,
that was
that
my
is
geek
awesome.
out.
I love it. That is awesome, though. That is very, very cool. What was your most disappointing geek out moment, though?
Corey Feldman.
Really?
Yeah. So I
I
have
figured
been
it had to be the two
I was
Corys. Yeah,
gonna say, is that all she needs to say really there?
yeah,
No,
I
just
know.
kidding.
Corey Feldman. So I actually get a friend of mine does caricatures. So when I go to conventions, I get me drawn into a scene from a movie or a TV show that I'm getting signed. I absolutely love doing that. So I had him draw me and Corey Feldman from Dream a Little Dream, which is one of my favorite Corey Feldman movies. First of all, he was right next to Sean Austin and oh my gosh, I want to say Frodo, and that's not his real name, Elijah Wood, right?
Okay.
So he's in line with these guys, and these guys are going through their line. And normally, if the person's going to go take a break, they cut off the line, they empty out the line, and then they tell anybody, "Hey, this person's going to come take a break." I was in the last leg of the line. He got up, and I thought, okay, maybe it's a smoke break. Doesn't come back for an hour and a half. Didn't tell
Whoa.
anybody. Doesn't come back for an hour and a half. And this is after you watch Sean Austin and Elijah Wood, who are way bigger names than Corey Feldman, nicely, politely empty out their line and take a break, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he comes in, and I was like, do I stay? Do I go? It was a whole thing because I was like right at the, I'd been in line for an hour, and then I was right at the end of the thing. And then my friend who draws them always draws a place for them to sign, and I always point to it, and I have them put the sticky if they're doing it. So they do that. And he wrote across the middle of it, actually marking out the song in the middle of the picture, not paying attention to it at all.
He
And
wasn't.
didn't apologize, didn't say anything, not just for that, but I mean, for his fans, he didn't come back. And I was like, this was one of those moments where I'm like, yep, that was not meeting one of your people that you like, because it ruined it. And yeah, he can suck it.
Oh well. There you go.
Corey
Totally.
Feldman,
Wow.
if you're listening, you can suck it. Do not take it out on this show. You can take it out on Drinking with Authors.
Fair enough. What geeks you out the most?
What geeks me out the most?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what I have to say? I think seeing how mainstream it is now, like role-playing games and stuff like that. Because I was from the age, maybe some of the rest of the people on the show too, were when, we were worshiping Satan when we were playing Dungeons and Dragons. That was a thing. We're all gonna go to hell. So what I really love is seeing people that are nerds and how many of them there are. And I go completely crazy just being in that environment because I'm like, here are my people. So
Oh,
we're
I
a
could
geek out.
totally understand that completely. And it's always interesting too, because people who used to tease me for being a geek when I was in high school and stuff, they're like saying, "Oh, it's so cool to watch Star Wars and blah 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 and everything." It's like, "Oh yeah, and you used to lock me in the locker because of that." So,
Exactly. I always joke that I was a nerd before it was cool to be a nerd. I was like one of those kids that was shoved into lockers and stuff. And I'm like, now it's really cool. I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, you guys have it easy. You could be a geek with no repercussions. People think you're cool. I had to fight for it. I
it's,
had to go to Trekkie conventions in the basements of hotels. And we joke about that, but that actually happened.
oh,
So
trust me, I know.
We had to walk uphill both ways. Yes, we get it.
In the snow to go to a
in the
Comic-Con.
snow with our polyester costume that we had to make because you couldn't find them. I tease people about all the time because cosplay is amazing now, but when we made costumes, we had to make the costume. There wasn't places to buy costumes or costume parts. You had to like completely create the costume or find somebody who did it for $40 billion,
Or either that or you had the wonderful like plastic costumes or something
Yeah,
that had
what is it? The Ben what's it? Ben something, right? Costumes that we talked about
on
recently.
our, we talked about it on plug on our Patreon on the last ESO board silly. We got to talk about our Halloween costumes growing up with the plastic face with the rubber band behind it and everything, and the elastic cord would break halfway through, trick-or-treating and everything.
Oh yeah, my last one was a Mickey Mouse one like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you know the pain. You do know the
Oh
pain.
yeah, no, the pain is real. The
Oh,
pain
yeah.
is real.
What turns your geek off?
Bullying.
And you still have it.
Bullying, and that turns it off. But the other thing that turns it off is a bad remake of something nerdy. Like when, there's like, I could go down the Star Wars thing and I might be stirring up an entire hornet's nest here. But, being original Star Wars fans, I actually was at the opening night at the Chinese Man Theater in 1976 of Star Wars. I was 3 years old. I actually remember it because I remember the gold curtains. They have ridiculous gold curtains and the music and all of that stuff. And then, they go and they remake stuff and they don't do a great job and it annoys the crap out of me. Like they keep remaking all these movies. I actually heard a rumor they're going to remake The Princess Bride. And I'm telling you, I might be incarcerated because I'm going to cut a bitch if that actually happens. Like, don't do that. There's no reason to do that. If you remake The Breakfast Club, same thing. I'm coming after you. Like, that's there. It's officially recorded. So when I get arrested, there'll be plenty of evidence.
We know, where to send people now. Okay. Got
Absolutely.
it. Please feel free.
Well, she is up on the mountains, so she has a compound, so she could protect herself up there.
I may have weapons, but I will go down to Hollywood if some of this stuff happens. But no, I think bullying at all. But the big thing for me is when they remake something or they make it so commercialized that they take the spirit and the fun out of whatever that was.
Mm-hmm. No, totally makes sense. What fictional character would you like to meet the most? We'd like to keep you on your toes here. This is not easy.
No, but there's so many, so many just went through my head. I think I would absolutely love to meet Odd Thomas.
Really?
I think he would be so much fun. Yes.
Why so?
Because the whole being able to see dead people and demon thing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that would be cool. And he seems like actually a really genuinely nice guy. Okay. Sure. So I mean, there's all these cool ones. Like I could, say, what is it, Chandril Shajar from Spellfire from Ed Greenwood. Like I could go down total geek paths, but I'm like, who would be really weird? Odd Thomas would be really weird to meet.
No, understandable. I like it. That's good. What fictional character would you not like to meet, though?
Ooh, what was the name of the pedophile character from the Sword of Truth series, the first bad guy? I could not
Oh,
meet him. That would be okay. I don't remember his name, but he ended up getting buried up to his neck. Didn't
mhm.
go well for him, but I can't. Yeah. So him,
Okay.
that would be
Okay.
my choice. Unnamed person.
Unnamed bad guy from that series.
He
Got
shall
it.
Yeah.
not be named.
Yes.
No, not Voldemort. We're not going there. No. What is your
Voldemort
favorite
seems
geek
like he
word?
needs accoutrements to be doing what he's doing. So I think I could take Voldemort. I'm just saying, even though I'm a muggle right now, I think I could take him.
Oh, thank you. In other words, don't get on Erica's bad side, folks.
Oh,
Listen,
right.
No.
listen to her podcast, please. No, or else. What is your favorite geek word, phrase, quote, or pose?
My favorite, literally my favorite quote is there's two. It's, did you ever even watch the show? Like, I say that all the time. You ever even, that's from Galaxy Quest, in case somebody doesn't get that.
Of course, I knew.
And then yeah, the other one is this girl survived for 3 months with no weapon and no training. Well, why doesn't somebody put her in charge? I say that a lot.
Love it.
Aliens, my favorite movie.
Of course. What geek occupation would you like to do?
Well, I'm already kind of doing a geek occupation, right? I get
Sure.
to drink with authors, that counts.
Yes.
I do cosplay. I used to act. I miss acting. I would love to do that geek occupation.
That would be cool.
But do you mean like a wizard? Because I would love to be an overlord and a wizard, that rules over an
This
entire.
is your segment. You could do whatever you
Oh
want.
gosh, there's so many possibilities. Are you going to ask me what superpower I want? Because I know that one too. But yeah, I think that
Mike, version 2 of the Geek Seat coming soon.
Really?
yeah, no, I will rein it in and say that it's acting in cool movies. Like I would have loved to have been in Crow. That would have been awesome. So
That's awesome. That is
yeah.
really, really awesome.
That is a first.
What geek occupation would you not like to do?
It's the first. It's the first time anybody's ever said that out loud.
I wouldn't I do not think I would want to be a I consider it a geek occupation, but a computer programmer. I'm always impressed the hell out of them, but they
No,
just sit and look at a computer screen all the time.
number
Like
one
I
answer.
need
Number
people.
one answer on the show.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that. I'm impressed though with the people that can do that. I just can't.
No, exactly. I'm the same way. And I work with computers all day, so I do understand that. All right, Erica, this is for all the marbles. Are you ready
All
for
of
your
them.
are you ready for your final question, the Geek Seat?
I think so. I'm enjoying these. Let's do it.
Okay. What is your ultimate geek fantasy?
Oh my gosh.
I
I
told you
think
this is important.
oh oh you know what I've always really wanted to do is do a group cosplay that is pulled off just incredibly well. Going to Dragon Con, I sometimes am just in awe of the huge group cosplays, but then there's a caveat to it that I want us to run into the people that were in that show or movie or whatever we're cosplaying, and I want them to be so thrilled that they want to take us out to dinner, the actors and stuff like that. Like that we go out to dinner with them because they just think we're so thoroughly amazing.
That is a good fantasy. Because that would be awesome. And it's funny because you have seen things like that at Dragon Con, not going out to dinner or anything, but the actors or the authors or the writers or the artists meeting up with their creations and everything. Even Mike Gordon, I remember when you ran into Tiki Zombie, that
I
somebody
did.
was,
That was pretty amazing.
it was pretty awesome. And so it is really super neat when that does happen. So
Well, I think it's one of the most sincere forms of flattery too. Just
oh, sure.
if you're a
Oh,
creator,
yeah.
if you're an author, if you're somebody and somebody shows up dressed as your character, Oh my gosh, like you cannot get a better compliment than they thought that was so epic that they took the time to do a creation and wanted to share it with you.
Yeah. I think the only thing that would top that is when they get a tattoo.
Oh,
That is true. But Bruce Campbell, I had the opportunity to meet him actually several times now that I think about it. But he loves to do that thing where he brings people up on stage and gives them money out of his own pocket. When they show his tattoos, like the Evil Dead tattoos and stuff, he'll give people $5 out of his pocket to just keep coming up on stage and show them all the tattoos. So,
that is awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
That is fantastic.
That's a good compliment there as well.
Very cool. Well, Erika, I've got some great news for you.
Oh.
You've made it through the Geek Seat. Congratulations. You are now officially part of the ESO Network. Yay!
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Mr.
Thank
Mike Gordon,
you.
tell the young lady what else she's won.
You have won a lifetime subscription to the ESO Network, but since you're part of the network, it's kind of comp, so it's not really worth anything. So,
wow. So you effectively told me I negated a prize. You got to work on your pitch more, Gordon. I'm just saying. There's got to be a way.
No. See, the pitch implies that we did this beforehand. This is afterwards, so it's like, yeah. So it's just
You're one of us now. You're one of us.
You're one of us, right? So that's the prize. You are one of us now.
I am super proud to be one of you guys. You guys are epic, and I love what you do. And I think you guys have brought so many amazing creatives to the forefront and given voices to people. So I do a tiny little portion of it, but what you guys do is so much bigger in a way. So
I appreciate that.
We are glad to be in it with you together.
Exactly. We're very happy.
I think what's the saying? This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, a beautiful podcast ship, if you will. Tell people where they can go to find out more about your show.
Okay. Well, you guys, everyone, immediately, if you could go to drinkingwithauthors.com, and we're actually revamping our website right as we speak. So, but we're on YouTube and all of the podcasting sites, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. You can find us. You can go to rss.com, Drinking with Authors, and that way you can download it yourself if you want to keep it secret and safe, like the One Ring on your phone, which is a little creepy, but I appreciate it. Just as long as you like subscribe.
My precious.
You can your phone, you can be like, my precious Drinking with Authors episode. It's only mildly weird. We're in favor of it though. Huge fans.
Yeah. That is awesome.
You can get creepy with us. We're good with it. It happens.
That's even better. It's a good thing to be creepy, but definitely I'm very happy to have you part of the network. And I think your first official episode is going to be going up, I think, right after Thanksgiving or so.
Yeah. I think it's the 29th.
Yeah, I think that's your first official episode with the network. And we've already been starting to run your promo. And so we are very excited to have you part of the network. And on behalf of myself, Mike, and everyone else who's part of ESO, welcome aboard.
I toast to you.
We toast you. We drink.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. What are you drinking out of there, Mr. Gordon? What is that? That looks like somebody's head.
Of course, it's a tiki.
What is that?
It's a tiki mug.
It's a tiki mug.
Oh, okay. Are you a collector?
Look behind him. Look behind him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, one of those things behind him looked a little inappropriate. I wasn't sure, so I wasn't going to comment just in case the light one behind Baby Yoda. But, I go down a dirty path. It's fine.
That's okay. Anything goes right now, so it's cool. But Erika, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to take a quick break now, and we will be back, and we're going to be looking at Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. And we're done. Boom. Yay. That was awesome.